In the heart of a lush forest, there was a village called Innimaayi Boolli. Sunlight streamed through the trees, bathing the village in a warm glow. The air was filled with the sweet songs of birds, and the animals lived together in peace and harmony. It was a place of joy. The animals helped each other, shared their food, and celebrated their differences. Innimaayi Boolli was a perfect example of how different creatures could live together in harmony. Everyone was happy and life was good. Innimaayi Boolli was home to many animals. Among them were a clever wildcat named Iluu. Iluu was small, but he was very agile and fast. He loved to play pranks on his friends, though his heart was in the right place. Obbo Guddoo was a big, strong bear. He was known for his strength. While he wasn't very clever, he often relied on his strength to solve problems. He loved to eat honey and take long naps in the sun. Despite their differences, Iluu and Obbo Guddoo were the best of friends. They spent their days playing games, sharing food, and looking out for each other. They were an unlikely pair, but their friendship was strong. One day, while exploring the forest, Iluu and Obbo Guddoo stumbled upon a clearing. In the clearing, they found two abandoned houses. One house was made of sturdy bricks. It had a strong roof that looked as though it could weather any storm. The other house was made of sticks. It had gaps in the walls that allowed the wind to pass through, making it cold and uncomfortable. Its leaky roof suggested it might collapse at any moment. "I'll take the brick house," Obbo Guddoo declared, puffing out his chest with pride. He believed he deserved the best. So without a second thought for Iluu, he lumbered into the brick house and made himself comfortable. Iluu, disappointed by Obbo Guddoo's selfishness, didn't complain. He went into the stick house and tried to make the best of it. As night fell, Iluu shivered in his cold house, the wind whipping through the gaps and chilling him to the bone. He thought about Obbo Guddoo, who was probably warm and cozy in the brick house. A wave of sadness washed over him, but he resolved to find a solution without making a fuss. Iluu thought long and hard. He needed a plan. Determined not to let Obbo Guddoo know his discomfort, Iluu devised a clever plan. Early the next morning, he approached his friend, his eyes twinkling with feigned excitement. "I am so happy with my house," he said cheerfully. "If anyone tries to attack me from the south, I flee through the north. If they come from the east, I escape through the west. It's perfect for quick getaways." Obbo Guddoo, intrigued by the idea of a house with multiple escape routes, felt that perhaps Iluu had the better deal. He imagined himself outwitting danger with ease, and without thinking twice, he demanded, "Switch houses with me, Iluu. If you don't, I might just eat you up." Feigning reluctance, Iluu finally agreed to the exchange. He moved into the sturdy brick house, while Obbo Guddoo took over the drafty, leaky house made of sticks. That night, a fierce storm raged through the forest. The wind howled, and the rain beat down in torrents. Inside the stick house, Obbo Guddoo was miserable. The cold wind rushed through the gaps in the walls, and rain seeped in through the roof. He spent the entire night worrying that the storm might tear the house apart, or worse, that he could be crushed by falling debris. Meanwhile, Iluu slept peacefully in the sturdy brick house, warm and dry, shielded from the storm. The solid walls kept him safe, and he drifted off into a deep, peaceful sleep while the storm raged outside. When morning arrived and the storm had passed, the sun peeked out from behind the clouds. Obbo Guddoo, drenched and exhausted, emerged from the dilapidated house. As he looked across the clearing, he saw Iluu still curled up in the brick house, fast asleep, completely undisturbed by the storm. That's when it hit him. He had been tricked. As he stood and observed his surroundings, Obbo Guddoo couldn't shake off the disappointment and betrayal he felt. Nearby, the brick house stood firm and unbothered by the night's chaos. With the storm now a memory, Iluu woke up and glanced out of the window. Seeing his friend's forlorn figure, a wave of guilt washed over him. He realized that his prank had gone too far, causing real harm to Obbo Guddoo. Iluu stepped outside, his heart heavy with remorse. As he approached Obbo Guddoo, he saw the hurt in his friend's eyes. "Obbo Guddoo," Iluu began, his voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for things to go this far. You can have the brick house back." Obbo Guddoo looked at Iluu, the anger slowly fading from his eyes. He could see the genuine regret in his friend's face. "Iluu," he replied, "I was also wrong. I shouldn't have been so greedy. We should have shared the brick house from the start." At that moment, both friends realized the importance of cooperation and trust. They had each made mistakes, but together they could make things right. With newfound determination, they decided to rebuild not just a house, but their friendship too. And so Iluu and Obbo Guddoo decided to work together. They gathered the strongest sticks. They used mud to patch up the holes. They built a new house. It was even bigger and better than the other two houses. It was big enough for both of them. As the new house stood proudly in the middle of the village, word spread about the unity and teamwork of Iluu and Obbo Guddoo. The villagers decided to celebrate this newfound spirit of cooperation with a grand feast. The preparations began early in the morning. The villagers brought their best dishes, and a large bonfire was set up in the village square. Children ran around, laughing and playing, while the elders shared stories of the past. The air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread, roasted vegetables, and sweet treats. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the village, everyone gathered around the bonfire. Iluu and Obbo Guddoo were at the center of it all, their faces beaming with joy. An elder, holding a beautifully carved wooden staff, stepped forward and addressed the crowd. "Tonight, we celebrate not just the building of a new house, but the strengthening of our community. Iluu and Obbo Guddoo have shown us that when we work together, we can achieve great things." The villagers cheered, and the celebration continued with music, dancing, and laughter. Iluu and Obbo Guddoo looked around, feeling a deep sense of belonging and pride. They knew that this celebration was not just for them, but for the entire village. As the night wore on, the bonfire crackled, and the stars twinkled above. The village of Innimaayi Boolli was alive with joy and unity, a testament to the power of friendship and cooperation. In the end, both friends learned valuable lessons. They realized that life wasn't about having the biggest or best house. It was about friendship, resourcefulness, and helping those in need. When they understood this, they both thrived. The village of Innimaayi Boolli continued to thrive, filled with laughter, harmony, and the spirit of cooperation. These values bound all the inhabitants, humans and animals alike, into a peaceful community. The villagers gathered one evening to celebrate. The sun set in a blaze of colors, casting a warm glow over the new house that Iluu and Obbo Guddoo had built together. The air was filled with the sounds of joyous chatter and the aroma of delicious food. An elder of the village stood up and raised his hand for silence. He spoke, "Let this house be a reminder that unity and kindness can overcome any storm. May we continue to build not just houses, but a community where everyone feels at home." The crowd cheered, and as the night wore on, the stars twinkled above, reflecting the newfound unity below. Iluu and Obbo Guddoo looked at each other and smiled, knowing that their friendship had become the cornerstone of something much greater. And so, the story of Iluu and Obbo Guddoo became a legend in Innimaayi Boolli, a tale passed down through generations, teaching that the greatest wealth lies not in bricks and mortar, but in the bonds we share with one another. The end. Thank you for watching. This story is produced and presented to you by BIRMADUU Media. Special thanks to all participants and those who supported this project. Copyright 2024. BIRMADUU Media.